Is it working? I have no idea. It should be working. Let me see if it's working. Just one moment. Hello, I am here. Magical, isn't it? Let's see. Is text the right way around? Yes, text is the right way around. Excellent. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, this is taking a minute to get started. I'm trying out using a streaming software for the first time since it's faster and easier than YouTube, which happens to have a shit ton of inertia involved with it. So, excuse me if this has taken way longer than I wanted it to. I'm currently trying to add another camera through my phone so I can show you stuff without having, because this is just the MacBook's camera, which is genuinely kind of awful. So just give me a minute. I'm sorry if this seems like totally. Okay, let me see. Let me try this now. I'm gonna just stop the camera for a minute. Let me turn. Yep, sorry about that. Okay. Is that fine? Is the audio okay now? Oh, fuck. To stream. Okay, desk is on stream now. Yeah, Greg will join soon. Actually, I think I'm just gonna. No. The echoing's too awful. I'm just gonna kick. Yeah. Okay. Now, can you hear me now? Hello. Okay. Yes. Hi guys. Oh wow. How many people are here? 11 people are here. Let me just share the link to the stream real quick, and then I will actually start doing something. Oh wow, look, there's the stream. Finally showed up on YouTube. Okay. Can I share the stream? Copy link. Let's go to Twitter. Command. Just a second. Command V. Excellent. Okay, so I did that. And now, awesome. Okay, now I think I can actually get started. So, I don't think I need the volume on, but yeah, okay. Hi, hello, yes. It is not Proteus, that's Scarloey, that's this new saddle tank, which is unpainted. Hi, Talent Studios, Artwork 54 Productions, Alex, Cameron, Galaxy Mel, Lego Spaceman, James Gomez, and Shadowball X. How's it going? What's up? Thank you. Yeah, Duke is one of my favorite models. I thought about putting Coldy as the avatar, but I just love that photo of Duke. Excellent. Yes, let me go. I'll go grab Greg real quick, and then I'll turn on the camera for Alex's fan service. Okay, hi, I'm back. Before I get started, how long, how well can you hear me? Is it crackly or, excuse me, is it crackly or crunchy or is it bleeping out at all? My internet isn't the most fantastic, so I'm not sure how well it will live stream, but Zoom calls seem to work okay, so I figure it's in the same capacity. Excellent, good. Oh, awesome. That's great. I'm glad to hear that you can all hear me. It's nice and loud. Anyways, I think I'm going to open the chat on my phone so I don't have to stare at the awkwardly angled down computer screen. Just give me just a minute. Volume muted. Excellent. Glad to hear you can all hear me. I will turn on the camera in just 1 second here. Let me see. Let me go to the stream. What I do so I can see the your comments as I work is I'm about to open the live chat on my phone. Yep, and now I can see all your comments. I'll just lean that up there. No, I don't turn it. Come on, you got it. Excuse me, just 1 second. The inertia of using streaming software for the first time is not my favorite thing in the world. Okay, there we go. Can I see it? Lean that over here. We can hear you pretty well. Excellent. Excellent. I will turn back on the camera. You don't really want to see my fat face. Anyways, so here's the desk. Excellent. Video's good, I hope. Yeah, it doesn't seem very glitchy. Anyways, yeah. Alex, you asked. Here's Greg. He's here. Your fan service, okay? You happy now? Just gonna stick that little bastard over here now. Anyways. Yes, Greg is here. Greg is here. So I haven't shown him on YouTube yet, but so I started a Percy model for the first time. What was it? 3 years ago? I don't know. But it was a long time ago. And I barely got past finishing them. I built this shitty cab, which I never really finished. And I had the running board and the buffer beams. That was it. And I basically shelved the project for 3 years. And it's been a long-running joke for that long, which is when will Arlo finish his Percy? And the joke's on the haters now because I'm finally doing it. And basically nothing on this new model is from the old model except the buffer heads and like the buffer beam is plastic cut from the old running board. But it's still, but I'm so happy with him. So he's based mainly upon Peter Edwards' railway series illustrations, particularly from tramway engines, because those are the objectively best Percy illustrations in the whole railway series. That is without a doubt. Although he does have a tiny bit of TV series influence, like in the shape of the tank, which the only reason why that's that way is because I designed and printed this part before I decided to make the switch to it being a railway series model. But since all other illustrations of Percy except Edwards have this kind of tank, I don't care, honestly. But yes, so today I want to work on, since I've been doing the cab interior detail pieces lately, like here we have the back head with all the controls and whatnot on it. So I've got the water glass, firebox doors, got the regulator, and then up here we have the steam line off the turret for the injectors, as well as the main valve for the turret, and then the pressure gauge. So pretty simple, but that's what was in there. I've got the reverser here, which and all these little parts do move. And then we have the brake stand. And what I want to work on today, since I'm working on the cab interior, is I'm going to be doing the bunker door and maybe adding a seat and some other small details in here. And then I also want to work on the most likely finishing the side valences to the running board. And I started one right here. And don't worry, I'll get to your comments in just a second. I just want to explain what I'm doing today. I might also finish putting on the rear buffer beams. You see I have the bare unfinished 3D prints of the buffer housings right there. So I'll probably get to doing that today. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for because it's whenever my dad shows back up and I'm no longer alone. And I don't know when that is, but it's probably not for at least an hour. So we should have plenty of time. Another thing I'm thinking I might do today is make the insert for the bunker that has the coal on it. and maybe I'll make a start on the cab roof. But yeah, so yeah, without further ado, let's get to work. Let me look at the comments. When will you make James? If I ever make a big Tundra engine, he will be who I make, as Alex well knows. But not anytime soon. Oh yes, that's a secret project. We'll just shelve that one for later. That's looking good already. Where is the Purple Mountain Boy? He is in my bedroom on one of my display shelves because he's done, and so that's where he lives now, not on the desk. Thank you, Mel. Let's see. I am good. Excellent. Seems that very cool, Mel. Okay, let's continue. So, what should we do first? Well, what I'm thinking. Oh, and if you guys want to see, since I show a lot more on other platforms, not on YouTube, I don't show work in progress stuff as much. I'm currently rebuilding Skarloey. Here he is so far right now. Because I was never really happy with especially the buffer beams and the saddle tank, the old model. They look too much like Sir Handel to me, so I'm finally working on that. Really happy with how he's looking so far, and I'll be getting back to working on him more soon. Fully sprung buffers and coupling hooks. It's nice. And then back here, you might be able to see this is the truck, the Coldfield Railway truck. I'm building him to complement Catherine. He's getting there into completion. I just need to do his other sidewall, his roof, and then come spring I will paint him. But yeah, no, he's turning into my favorite piece of rolling stock I think I've ever built. Yes. Where is Duke? He is also upstairs, right near Coldy. Anyways, yes. 14 watching. Wow, color me impressed. So, the bunker door. Let me see. I might just pull up an image on my phone here of, let's see. Yeah, no, I was going to go to the wiki. Excuse me. My Wi-Fi suddenly feels like being slow when I start streaming. Go figure. Where's the wiki? Come on. Oh, look, it's Cake and Steak Man. My mental health has been fine. Steak and Cake, yes, hello, yes. Okay. Where's the wiki? I mean, or I could just, fuck it and not make it to look like anything. Actually, I'm just gonna scratch build it from memory because it sounds like too much inertia to try to find a photo right now. Back to YouTube. Excellent. Let me. Oh, and here's one more last thing. I'll show off on Percy before we get started. Here's his current face I'm working on. Oh God, the light here is not helping. It's based on the more Edwards Railway Series style. It's very incomplete. This is the most basic test sculpt. No sanding, further sculpting, etc. Painting has been done on this, obviously. But I'm fairly happy with how it looks right now. It does have the less rounded, more humanoid nose, I guess you could say, that some of Edwards' faces had. Excellent. So my mom just texted me, said my dad's on his way home, so he'll probably be home in like 40 minutes. So that's about how long I have on this stream. Anyways, so for the bunker door, I want I guess I could work on the side valences first. Anyways, so bunker door. I'm just gonna freelance this because I don't feel like looking at reference photos. I mean, it's not like there really are any. I'm thinking like 17 mil. Like, get out there. Maybe like a 17 by 20 mil door, because that's what, like just under what? That's 2 by 2. Oh, so my dad will be home in 50 minutes, so I have plenty of time for this stream. Excellent. Sorry that I'm all kerfuddled. Anyways, so I'm going to start off by making the base of the door. This is the old piece that was the old running board of the old Percy, so, you know, might as well put some of that in there. But this is just 1 millimeter thick evergreen styrene sheet. I'm just marking it, the calipers. A trick I like to do in plastic model making to get straight lines really easily that are of a set measurement is you use calipers like you would when after you've blued out a metal part to mark on it. But I get the dimension I want, obviously, in metric or millimeters, and then I lock the calipers with the little wheel here, and then holding them as square as you can, you drag it across the plastic, and then that leaves a excellent, I'm not sure if you can see that, indentation where you want to cut. And then just take a ruler, metal ruler obviously, because any wood or plastic ruler, you'll just cut up with the knife, and then do that. Do that again, and snap. So basically what I'm going to do for the inside of his cab is for the bunker door, it's just going to be a little door that has some small rails that are about twice its height on the side, and then a little handle, and I'll have it about like halfway up with a little pile of coal spilling out onto the floor of the cab. And and in plastic model making, you don't always have to be precise. Like, for example, here, I'm not measuring anything at all. I'm just eyeballing it, knowing that and that's, for a little detail part like this, that's in the inside of a cab, it's square enough and no one will really ever see it. And, I always hate, you don't have to always constantly be fastidious about the exact way you're doing everything and that it's all exactly square. Obviously, for big things like running boards and cab sides and big walls, and of course you want those to be perfectly square, and that's where I take the utmost care. But little detail parts like this, it's more fun to build them if you just do it and you don't procrastinate and just waste time, basically, by trying to measure everything. So I'm just going to draw a little arrow so I remind myself which side I want up. And in plastic model making on styrene ABS, I just use a normal pencil. You can use, I use Sharpies sometimes too, but generally a sharp pencil is more precise. Just make sure is that before you paint a model, I will, if I use a pencil, I take rubbing alcohol and I clean off the pencil, because pencil is slightly waxy and paint won't stick to that. And so that's just a little thing to be cautious of. And often when I'm like cementing with plastic weld a little piece onto here, like if I just do it a quick brush with the brush, boom, the pencil mark is gone. So with this, I'm thinking I might want to make this look like a wood part, but I don't know. Maybe I will. Watching it. Yes, Alex, you should. You definitely should. 9 people watching. Why are my people going away? Come on, guys, stay here. Anyways, here's this. I want to make a small handle on here. Just gonna take a piece of little scrap here. So we'll glue that right on there. Yes, Alex. They've all gone for a drink, haven't they? So So I'm going to make the rails next. And since this isn't going to be a moving part or anything, all I'm going to do is just cut some strips. I'm just going to put these next to the, we'll just cement these next to the door because this isn't like a moving part or anything where you need it to actually work. Cut that. So make these like, oh, let's just do that. Make these about an inch long so I don't have to cut a second strip and finagle trying to get it to be the right width. So I've got all those pieces. What I'm going to do now is to make this an easier sub-assembly to install in the cab. I'm going to cut another base piece, and then I'm going to cement all the little pieces to that, and then it will be a little assembly that I can then go stick in the cab. But I'm not going to use 1 mil styrene for that because that's kind of big. Let me grab the styrene scrap box full of styrene and ABS cutoffs from sheets, random bits of pipe and shapes and whatnot. Even have the top of Scarloi's old saddle tank in here. Let me see, should be able to find a piece big enough in here because I really don't feel like pulling out the big sheets. Here we go. Got a piece of 1/2 mil styrene right here. This is actually painted on the back because this is spare blackout from Coldy actually that I didn't use, and it as stuff does. Actually, I think I'll use the smaller piece. It makes its way to the scrap bin. Never overlook junk in modeling is what they always tell you, and I do stand by that and believe that. Let's see. It's going to. How do I want to square this up? Because if that's. Hello, overhead. Who's that? Yes, Percy is coming along. So that's 17 mil. So I'll make this 19. So let's just do 20. Should be. Hey, you can almost see my ugly face in shot. Oh no. Gonna need to do something about that. Do I need to go put on a mask and go Turtles and Thomas style? Anyways, I will cut that. And how long did I make these? 26 mil. So I'll just mark 26, move the ruler, and score, snap. Excellent. So with that, you should have beginnings the coal hatch door, and you can kind of see how this is going to go. There'll be the rails on either side, like so, and then I'll have the little handle on here. And I think I might actually make this handle a separate wire piece, and not. I mean, I could just do a little plastic piece. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much, but I think actually I'll change it to a piece of round styrene. It's just because that looks a little nicer and has a bit more relief, and that just shot across the room. But here we go. It's a little piece. Well, I've already technically posted the Coldy reveal, but the Fresh from the Workbench should be coming sometime in the middle of March. Excellent. So I'll mark, and I don't really need to mark the middle on any of this, but let me go cement this together. So for plastic model building, I use plastic weld. It's great stuff. Although, and health and safety warning here, This is highly volatile. It is nasty. You do have to use this in a very well ventilated area right next to a wide open window or door or outside. I do it outside in the summer, spring, and fall, and I do it right next to a wide open door in the winter. Don't mess around with shit like this. It can shorten your lifespan significantly. Let me put it that way. Also, don't get it on your skin, and don't sniff it, and don't get it in your eyes. Common sense. And that's what, actually, I wear safety glasses when using it, so in case any splatters at me, when you get to the end of applying a part, it can't get in my eyes. I've never personally had it get in my eyes, but it always pays to be cautious. Ten people watching? No, that's not bad. Let me see. How's... Just 1 second. Excellent. One more second, guys. There we go. There we go. Done. Okay. Back to the stream. Excellent. So I'm going to go cement these together next to the open door, and I'll be right back. Oh, you can still see me over here. Great. Excellent. Got that on there. Let me grab the other pieces. Got some strips. Good, Alex. Yes, it does appear that the pub has closed, doesn't it? Grab some tweezers. Let me just... This will only take a quick minute. Oh, and the dogs are joining me now, too. Hi, guys. Hello. Let's hold that on there. Small dot. Does not take very much at all. And hold that piece on there. Dot of cement on there. Wrap that together. Hold that briefly. Give me just a second. And the handle, last but not least, I will just add a drop of cement on there. A little bit extra. And that part should be done. Close the door. A second to fully cure. And we should be done. Let me see. Put that up there. And oh yeah, no more pub galaxy. It's a shame. Here's the door. Here's the door. So this will be the bottom. As you can see, it's open upwards for the coldest spot. Plastic Scratchbuilding 101 with Arlo. I guess that's what I should rename this stream. Now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cut out the styrene that's on this 0.5 millimeter sheet. I'm going to cut it out from where there would be an opening to give it more recess. Basically like that. I'll just grab a file here. Give that a quick touch up. And that will go, pull that piece out since it's loose. So we'll go into Percy, right back here in the center of the bunker. Maybe I'll put it off to one side. I suppose actually it would make more sense to have it close to the fireman's side. So I'll put it like right there. Yeah. You see that? Yep. And that will be the coal chute. Let the coal out of the bunker into the cab. Thank you, Clockwork Radio. Let me just check Twitter. Let's see, is anyone... Excellent. Now that I have... Yeah, so there's the little door. I'm going to stick this onto here. Just go down in there, and then we'll have the bunker hatch. Just one moment. You're staying or? Excellent. Excellent. Give that second to dry. Yes, I am waving the model up and down outside to help evaporate the last of the plastic cement just evaporated off of there. And do believe we have a bunker hatch now. So if you look right in there, you can see the little hatch I just made is all cemented in. Of course, this is the fireman's side of the cab. And random tidbit, if you don't know, generally in railroading, railways in general, when you're talking about steam locomotives, you will often hear the engineers and the fireman's side of the cab. And if you're ever wondering what that is, of course, so the engineer is by UK and American, at least, railroad practice is the right side of the cab, and the fireman is the left, at least on mainline and the larger narrow gauge locomotives. And so you will hear, so the right side of the locomotive looking from the cab forward would be the fireman's side, the engineer's side, excuse me, and the left side would be the fireman's side. Just a tidbit, not sure if anyone here knew that, but yeah, so I have that. If you're wondering, I'm not going to add the back head until I've painted the inside of the cab, so that's why that's a separate part. Yes, thank you, Alex. It's gauge 1. If it was G scale, it would be significantly larger. I'm thinking I'll work on the side valances next. So I cut this first one last night. And I did most of the finishing on it, but not quite all of it. So these go in here like that, obviously. Looks quite spiffy. And I have the second one. I've already done my caliper mark out on it. You definitely can't see that, but I've done that on here. So now what I'm going to do is the first thing is using here, I'm going to index where the corners are going to go. And for something like this where there's an inset rounded corner, what I do is when I cut this, so I do a straight line, I do a 45-degree straight line, and then I do the whole straight line. And then I come back with a round file and sandpaper if it's a larger curve, or sandpaper on like a dowel or something if it's a larger curve, or a Dremel too works. Sometimes we use that. And then we just knock that out of there. And that usually is the easiest way to cut it. It's really hard to cut tight corners like that with an X-Acto knife neatly, because what happens is that, so when you score styrene, it actually makes a slight ridge on each side, which is normally fine. I mean, the solvent basically just takes that away. But for a curve, since the blade isn't, it's not in negative width, it has width to it. When it's cutting a curve, it will how to describe it? The edge that gets lifted up becomes really thick and nasty, and sometimes it just requires a lot more cleanup. So I find it easier to do it this way. But what I'm going to do now is I will mark out right there and right there. And I am freehanding this. You probably can't see it, but there are the lines that I've already lightly scored with the caliper. So I'm actually following a straight line, even if it doesn't look like I am. Although for this long pass, I will grab a ruler. When is Toad happening? Eventually. Yeah, it's become so. Basically, it's become Alex's new joke, since he can no longer bug me. When am I finishing Percy? It's now, when am I building Toad? Because we were jokingly talking about how I had so little. I brought it up, how I had so little goods rolling stock and no brake van, and he mentioned that I should make. He brought up Toad, especially since I had been throwing around building one of the Arsdale engines, and obviously they're near the Little Western, and so Toad would be a local of that area, and so it'd make for more filming opportunities. Speaking of which, a mic model is in the works. I'm currently shopping around for an appropriate HO scale chassis to use, and I'm currently thinking about either an IHC Mikado chassis, International Hobby Corporation, I believe, or a River Rossi Indiana Harbor Belt 080 chassis with front and rear bogies added. I like the River Rossi option more because the chassis seems like they're a little more robust, and there's a remotoring kit available for it on eBay with a DC cam motor and flywheel. So we'll see. The River Rossi chassis, I also believe, has slightly smaller wheels. So since I want the miniature engines to be as small as possible, I'm thinking that it would have the better wheel size for it. And of course, now I think I've scored that. We're just going to gently flex that and just snap along the line. I forget to hold my work out farther so you can actually see what I'm doing, because I always hold it closer, more off the desk when I'm doing it. But Scarlo, he's gauge 1, narrow gauge. So yeah. No. Toad is coming sooner than that, Alex. Don't worry. Now I will just take, as I mentioned earlier, take the round file, and in no time at all, we have a rounded corner. And then we'll just do both sides. And not quite happy with how that went. I don't really like that. I think they go like that. That's not bad. Go ahead with that. Need to take that down. Let's do a little file. Yes, it is Percy. Percy is here. How many people do we have watching? 10 people? That's not bad. Pleasantly surprised by that number. I haven't done a live stream in ages. Good Lord. Maybe next time I'll actually get some guests to actually talk to on here, that not just the chat. That could be fun. And of course, this is also a micro Q&A. If you feel like asking questions, I'm always looking for something else to do while doing the boring work. So if you have any questions, of course, please fire them off, and I will do my best to answer them. Feel free to ask anything and anything and everything, and I just won't answer what I don't want to. You're welcome. Grab some sandpaper and just do a light final coat. As you can see, this sandpaper has basically become permanently rolled into a log, which is actually kind of useful and also kind of a pain in the ass, but makes it so you can kind of do that sort of thing. 1 second. Anyways, I'm back. Hello, Major League Productions. Favorite engine? Oh, heavily tied between Duke and Coldy currently. Go figure. Although if you want a character that's not exotic and narrow gauge, and that barely appeared, I would say probably either Percy or I really any of the Great Western engines. Ten people still watching. That's not bad. Now, if I hold these up to each other, I can see how close I've gotten them. Because that's always the in model making, it doesn't matter if it's the dimension of something like this inside part, it doesn't relate to anything else. So all that matters is that it looks good. So if it differs from what you originally drew it out as by a little bit, no one will ever notice. And that's one of the great dirty secrets in model building, is that you can do stuff like that. Because if it's something like that, it does a surface that doesn't reference anything else, and it just needs to look good, then you have a lot more freedom to make it look good. To just, to kind of take more off than you were maybe originally intending to make it look good. This is one of my favorite tricks for smoothing out an edge, is I just drag the X-Acto knife blade over it, and it acts like a plane of sorts. Makes little curly cues. Especially on really thin pieces like this, where it's kind of hard to file against them since they're so flexible. It's a lot easier to do this. Kind of even that out. I'm going to say it's the inside. It's the outside here. Let me just even this. I might need a little filler. Oh, look! It's Kool-Aid the Train. Any tips for people who want to get into model making? Well, it depends on what kind of models you want to make, honestly. If you want to make military models, go buy some plastic kits. If you want to make model trains, I would start by repainting and adding details to existing models. Uh, don't be me, and don't jump into building model trains by building model trains from nothing. That was a mistake. But yeah. But no, I mean, what media of model making do you want to get into? Do you want to get into straight out of the gate plastic model making, wood model making? Uh, and generally, metal model making is not something I would say anyone who's a beginner should do. But wood and plastic are both very approachable materials. I personally started just building stuff out of balsa wood, and that was a great start. I now don't use balsa wood for my wood models at all, but I do still build a lot of wood models. For example, this O scale, rather freelance shorty passenger coach I'm working on. This is an entirely basswood and a little bit of balsa wood model, and it's and I really like working in wood actually too. But yeah, no, wood is generally the easiest. I mean, especially balsa and basswood, as they're both considerably soft woods and they're easy to shape with just a knife and sandpaper and scissors. But plastic model making is approachable too. I mean, to get into it, the most basic tools you need are some plastic cement, a sharp and X-Acto knife, a straight edge. I mean, and that's pretty much it. Some sandpaper and files. I mean, you can make anything with that. Yeah, I mean, and super detailing models can be fun. I mean, you can buy, especially if you're working in the smaller scales, there's lots of castings that are available if you're just looking to add detail parts to a model. I mean, there's lots of ways. And of course, kits. There's a lot. I mean, especially if you want to get into the smaller scales, there's tons of like double O scale and O scale and N scale wagon kits and building kits and plastic and wood, and those are all very accessible for beginners to start with, and they're not hard at all. You generally don't need that many tools to get a good result. And of course, I mean, and even if your first try is a little bit rough, you always learn more for next time. I think these are just about good. I might trim them up a little bit more when they're on the model, but these, just see which, yeah, these look good enough, I'd say. Yeah, those look pretty good. I just want to label this as the outside, and this is the outside, so I don't put, because the caliper scribe marks, they're about a tiny bit over, and you can kind of see them in the indents right here behind the curves. So I just don't want to put that on the outside. So I'll just put that on the inside, and you'll never see it. But yeah, so these will go in like so basically, and those look rather nice. I'm not gonna cement these in quite yet though. I'll be right back. I have not made anything recently for my Shapeways store. If there's anything people want, I'm always taking suggestions. I'll be right back. Just 1 second. Of course, Gio. Let's see. How many people are watching? Still 10 people? That's not bad. Yeah, it is fine. I think we're all just still waiting for part 6, although, that's unlikely to ever be released. I think what I might work on now, I think I'll work on the rear buffers because I need to add those. So I have the raw prints right here, and I'm just gonna start. So obviously I print all my stuff since with a brim, so that way it sticks to the bed. And with ABS, that's especially important because generally it has a tendency to want to warp, and a brim usually prevents that. It's just annoying because I do have to cut that off the base of everything. Although generally it just peels off just by scraping the edge with your fingernail, but normally, often you also have to, uh, cut and sand it off. So now these parts are a tiny bit hard to hold, but so I'm just gonna put it on a tweezer, I guess. So then I can hold this to and I do use I think files are one of the best things to use in plastic model making, actually, because unlike sandpaper, since it's steel, this is it's solid and it's flat. So if you want to file a straight edge onto something, it's really easy compared to sandpaper, where you need to have a perfectly flat surface to put the sandpaper on to do that, and then like trying to get into little nooks and crannies is really hard. Another thing I of course recommend and that I use highly is where are they? Nail files, fingernail files. I'm a man. I don't use these for my fingernails, but I steal them from. But I use them for sanding for models because they're great for plastic model building, for getting in little areas. And like a file, they're flat, so they don't flex like sandpaper. Although they are not nearly as stiff. They are rather floppy. Yes, sandpaper is definitely kind of tough. Yeah, it is. Sandpaper, of course, still has its uses. Like, for example, on Percy's saddle tank here, I used a coarse file for sanding down most of the layer lines, but like the final surface went over, I just used a piece of sandpaper. And of course, on curved surfaces like that, it is great. So basically, I'm just truing up the edge of this buffer beam housing, and then I'm going to take the file, and we'll just go around like this. And here I'm filing downwards. I am pushing against my finger, very lightly, of course. And what we're doing is I'm just taking off the slight texture from the 3D printed. Of course, this I do use ironing on all my parts, so all the flat surfaces have a much smoother surface than how they normally come out of a 3D printer. And basically all that means is that after the 3D printer does a visible, completely flat finished surface, it goes over it one more time, but instead of depositing a full layer, it's going over at the same height and depositing a very small amount of filament. But what it does is it smooths out the surface really nicely, so less cleanup on those surfaces. You do, of course, still have to sand them because 3D printing is by no means a perfect process, and the surface will never be good enough to go like put in a model, but it does take out a lot of sanding. Thanks, Kool-Aid. Yeah, gonna be trying to get back to work on Scarlowy soon, but just been really enjoying finally getting back into working on Percy. Just as a heads up, I will have to be probably closing out this stream in like 20 minutes, which kind of would like 10 minutes, which is rather unfortunate, but I suppose that's better than me abruptly ending it when my dad gets home. Excellent. So that looks pretty good. Just give us a little bit of a fingernail board finish. And Percy doesn't have any wood in him. Generally, if I'm building a plastic model, it will be only plastic and metal parts. And then wood models will be wood, plastic, wood, a couple plastic and metal parts. But no, Percy won't have any wood in him. But yes, the yellow parts on him are all 3D printed ABS. Oh yes, and Alex, I should get back to answering your question. Favorite 3 fan-made series? Well, I might come off as biased, but your Hailing Island series is definitely in there. I watch a pitiful amount of Thomas fan series. Well, I've watched a lot of them, but I haven't seen the entirety of most Thomas fan series. I'm currently trying to finally watch all of Sudra in Conflict, enjoying that. I suppose maybe put Sudra in Conflict on there. And I love Sodor Northwestern Railway Steam, his HO00, his 00 scale series that he does. Northwestern Railway Tales or something. I don't know exactly what he calls it. I believe that's his name. Yeah. I love his style and storytelling and way of doing things. I think I've watched a total of like 10 episodes of the whole series currently. So I'm a bit, I'm not a true fan. Don't cancel me, please. But no, yeah, that's why you might remember that joke I made about YouTube asking about whether Southern Conflict episode 1 was suitable for children, and that's why I guess they were asking me, because I just watched it, rewatching the whole series. I find it kind of funny that about a fifth of episode 1 is just that there's just that song in the beginning. Anyway, so I think I've got those buffer housings tidied up. Now what I'm going to do is ruler. So these buffers, I forget what they were uncentered. Oh yeah, they do have some nice stories. Let's see. So how did I put these? Put these 16th on the center. Okay. What I'm doing right now is I'm measuring out where the buffers are going to sit. I'm just going to draw a line. These are 16 to the center of the buffer housing, 16 millimeters. Not 16 inches, obviously. That'd be a little large. Excuse me. Just draw a line. And the reason why you can't see them is I just put them in my lap, because it's the easiest way to support the model, instead of trying to do this and possibly breaking the buffers or off or something. And there we go. You see, it just drew those lines. Now what I'll do is I'll just I put a dot of cement on there, and then I just set the buffer on and hold it after lining it up centered. Don't think I might not get to cementing it on in this stream, but he is Hitler in this series? I didn't know that. Wait, no. I think I did know that. Yeah. Or I don't know. I'm probably misremembering something or another. But, on Percy, I would have made nicer buffers, but for sentimental sake, from the old model, I wanted to reuse these buffer heads, which are push pins. So I designed these new buffer housings around the push pins. I would have preferred to have made new sprung buffers, but I like the sentimental value of having these old buffer heads being used. And those are right here, and I'm just going to go. Oh, yeah. Well, shows how much Southern Conflict I've seen, Alex. I'm just going to cement these on, and then I'll probably have to wrap up the stream, unfortunately. but I think we've made some good progress. Made the coal door. Oh, you probably can't hear me way over here. But yeah, made the coal door. We're getting these rear buffers attached. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for the stream today, but quite happy with the progress made. Dot of cement. Looks good. Let's add another dot there. Attached. And get plenty of why does my nose feel so stuffy? Let's give that a second to dry, and then we will have glue in the buffer heads. We'll have rear buffers at long last. Excellent. Those look good. As you can see, I've got the buffer stems on. Yeah, no, I've seen screenshots floating around of Hitler in it. I've never gotten that far. I am not a true SudCon fan. I'm sorry. I know. I'm such a fake fan, aren't I? I'm a fake Thomas Content fan, aren't I? See, and I'm just gluing in his buffer heads. You're probably wondering why I'm breathing on it, and that's because CA or superglue is activated with moisture. It sets with moisture. So in the winter, when the air is really dry, it doesn't cure as fast. So what I do is I inhale away from the superglue, obviously, and then I blow out a big steamy breath onto the superglue, and it helps it cure really fast. I know that sounds weird, but the moisture from your breath, also the moisture that spreads the coronavirus, the droplets, will actually help it cure really quickly. I know that's probably a really weird sounding technique, but I mean, hey, I'm not joking. And yes, Superman Dakota 3, this is the Railway Series Percy. Specifically based on Peter Edwards' drawings of him in the book Tramway Engines, which is the one and only and objectively best Percy depiction. Put that up there. And as you can see, we've got some buffers. Yes. But yeah, Percy, man. I haven't glued on his leaf springs yet. You may notice like this one's floating around because these, since the way this is painted, obviously I'll spray paint this. I'll primer it, and then I probably won't. I'm not sure if I'm gonna spray paint him. I may brush paint him and then gloss coat him. But either way, I want to keep the after priming him, I may brush paint him, and then gloss him. But I want to keep these leaf springs separate until all the painting is done because they're black and under here is green. So that way, then I can just stick them on, and because it's impossible to mask all that. So that's why those are floating around. Well, I definitely have. Well, I'm currently I'm working on Mike. Obviously, he's in the planning stages. I've made his CAD model. I really want to. I want to make Toad because I really desperately need a brake fan. And on the larger engine side, I really want to do another strictly Railway Series model in a TV series form, like I did with Coldy. I'm really tempted right now to make Bear, believe it or not. But I also really am also equally tempted to do the ballast spreader. That one character that appeared in that one illustration in that one Railway Series book and did not speak. That character, the character everyone knows about. Yeah. So yeah, generally in model making is it's a lot easier. Like the back head and the leaf springs is you wait to attach those until everything's painted, and then you do that final assembly because it just makes everything that much easier. But yeah, obviously I need to make the vacuum pipe for the rear. And if you're wondering how I made this, it's a piece of copper wire bent to shape, and then I wrap a much finer gauge copper wire all the way around it, kind of like a spring almost. And then I just solder it, and it fills it in, and it almost looks like a flexible pipe, even though it's completely rigid. Just pop this back in here. If you're wondering, here's how the back head looks fitted into the cab. You can kind of see that. I just love finally having a detailed cab in one of my standard gauge engines. What was I gonna say? I've had a complete brain fart. I am talking about the R-Style engines for a sec. Yeah, Mike is in the R-Style engine. Yeah, it is Railway Series based. Yeah. Well, I think my dad just showed up, so I'm gonna have to finish this stream here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll definitely be back with more live streams in the near future. Bye.